Hi, everyone in the 5 Steps to Connect community. Welcome. I am Allison Livingston, and I'm the founder of 5 Steps to Connect, previously called the Heart Gym, and I am so glad to be starting this new initiative. The main goal is because I want to reach more parents and with this really important information that has been life-changing for myself and my children. So welcome. I'm just going to give a quick, brief bio. Most of you know me or have been students in my classes, but I'm hoping this is going to take off and grow, and there'll be new people each week, and that we'll really form a community because this is the most important job we will ever do and the most challenging job we will ever do. So I had a spirited daughter when I was first pregnant. I knew she was spirited in the womb. She was spirited at 6 months and at 3 and at 6 and every time in between. And I needed support to be able to parent her because she constantly triggered me. I was upset often. I would lose it. I would get angry at her. I would not be the person I wanted to be. And it was just really, really, really challenging. So I got support through Nonviolent Communication and VC, as well as Brene Brown and the Growth Mindset, and most recently Dr. Shafali and Dan Siegel and Hand in Hand Parenting by Connection, which most of this work is based on. And it was because she would have such intense energy, and it would completely throw me off track, and I would become this reactive and the other reason that I started doing this work was because I am a doer, and that I love to accomplish things, that I love to have everything go well, I love to be competent. And boy, that is not easy when you have children, as I'm sure you all know. All of my best laid plans and control would just go right out the window when these two beautiful girls, Homo sapiens, would have their own energy and desires and life force. And so when I wasn't much of a feeler either. I had a lot of trouble feeling my own emotions, very focused outward on how things would turn out. And again, children, they don't let you do that. They help you be as real and honest, and will teach you what you need to do, what you need to learn and live to survive. I'm going to take a breath because I am excited and nervous. My heart is going fast. This is one of the tools, a body scan. So I'm just going to take a minute and just share that I'm excited. So I did learn these tools because I really needed support for my own sanity and my happiness and my children's happiness and my partner's happiness. The thing that happened, I was going to do all this just for my own life and my own self and my own children. And then in 2015 in September, I had what's called a big magic from Elizabeth Gilbert's book experience, and felt compelled to start teaching this work. And any of you who know me, I am an introvert, and I am not at all compelled to get out in front of people. And so this really does feel like life coming through me. And again, to be able to do what I've been able to do, of start classes and start teaching, and it's all coming from life and wisdom. So just want to reassure you. So who is this for? It is for parents. The most people who have been the early adopters are parents with challenging, spirited children like my daughter. Almost every one of you who have come have had that. So I also want to call this work become the parent whisperers for challenging children, because I think these are the hardest children to parent because they never want to be told what to do. They have very strong personalities. They are very determined, and they are very triggering. Their intensity, their emotional force. If any of you know the Enneagram, they are often Enneagram challengers, the 8. They are also some of the most amazing people in the world once they are understood. And that is, of course, the big challenge. So it's for you, and it's also for your children. And my premise is that we are all very caring, hardworking parents who want only the very best for our children, to raise them into responsible, hardworking, amazing Homo sapiens. And also that our children are hardworking, energetic, innocent, amazing little beings who just want to explore and learn and please us. And so if both of these things are true, why is parenting the most difficult job on the planet? I would say. And the answer is because of, I think, our limbic system, maybe part of it, and that we get activated, stimulated, upset because of things in our past. And our limbic system reads these clues, either facial expressions or energy, or someone screaming, "No, Mom," or "I don't want to do that," or "I'm not eating that," or you're in the middle of Trader Joe's and they have a complete meltdown. All these are great examples of us, and our limbic system reacts as, this isn't safe. Our heart rate increases, we get very hot. I often feel pressure on my chest. There's a lot of physical clues. And what it actually feels like is that we have this, and our limbic system is receiving this really strong energy. However, our children are actually this, and they are hurt, they are scared, they are tired, they are hangry, they are under-resourced, they are disconnected from their whole self that they are born with, that we are born with. Wholeness, abundance, everything that we need in life to be wise and succeed is within us all the time. But we get off track when we sense this energy coming at us. And so the work of this is to recognize that we are triggered, that we are reacting, that we are upset, to be able to give ourselves care, to be able to experience our emotions, to be that not direct it at the stimulus. And that's what we're going to go over today. And all of this work is so that we can connect to our center, so that we can be the abundant, whole parents we want to be and not be off track. And when we are that, then we can deeply listen to them and their pain and their upset and their frightenedness and everything that is alive for them. And we can also set limits, because we are also teachers of them. And one of the biggest challenges is that we too often set limits when we're in reaction. So that's a lot. So for today, my hope was to focus on a class that I'd hoped to have right after Labor Day. And through my own work schedule at 1440 Multiversity, and just I think everyone was so busy with school start that it wasn't able to happen in person. And so I, through a request, wanted to use that as triggering examples and also celebrating examples, because a huge part of our brain continually looks for what's wrong, what's not working, what is scarcity, what is lack. And it is our job to turn our perspective to what is working, what is whole, what we are grateful for. And that is through I found the process of celebrating And that is when we are on track and our needs and values are in connection with us. So those are the things we're going to work with today. So I was going to briefly talk about something that happened in my summer with my children. And one of it is something that I mourned and want to mourn with you, and as a way of processing it. And through the act of processing, and another word Dr. Shefali uses is deconstruct, that we are able to let it go and heal it, and it melts away, and we don't have to carry it any longer in our shoulders that get tight, in our jaw that gets tight, in the pressure on our chest, because it will just come back to be reactivated later. So it's wonderful to be able to process these things. And then another is to celebrate one of the high moments of our summer. And I also am going to give you each time to just take 3 minutes to journal. So if you are able to have something to write with nearby, that will be wonderful. And I'm glad that a number of us could join and do this together. So let's begin. So the hard part, one of the hard parts of the summer, there were many, as life is normal, was when we took a long car ride. And my kids are very energetic, and they do not do so well in the car, and especially when they were younger, but even now. And we were going to their grandmother's house, grandma's house. And it's a 3.5-hour drive. However, with traffic, it became a 4.5-hour drive, and just sitting in traffic enervates us all, and we were quite impatient and started to get hot because it was in the middle of July. And so I could feel my own upset ramping. And I could feel it because, again, I get the telltale pressure in my stomach. I felt my stomach start to glitch. The things that were the stimulus were my daughters were starting to argue, and they were just sniping at each other and saying words that I don't enjoy, because I want them to be grateful that they have a sister, because I never did. And so what came up for me is a whole bunch of thoughts. And the hard part about this work is that often these thoughts are unconscious, and we don't even know that we're having them. And that is one of the challenges of all of this work, is that we just have reactions and we don't realize what is stimulating us. And so it's hard to do anything about it. So the most important steps I can teach you are to, one, notice when you're upset. And for me, this is a body scan. For some people, work never, and different things, tone of voice. So it's, again, recognize your tells that I'm reactive. And again, the whole thing is that when we react outward at the stimulus. My daughters are making me upset. The traffic is causing my angst. Going to see my mother-in-law is a whole nother layer on top of all these other layers of traffic, and my daughters sniping at each other and the heat. And so it's either noticing the thoughts, noticing the body sensations, and when that happens, throw yourself a lifeline, which is the care, the first of the 5 steps. And the care, you can't shut your eyes when you're driving, which I'm usually driving, so not wise, on 80, going 80. It is breathing. And I just learned a new tip about why this helps our parasympathetic be able to let down. And it gives our limbic system that is feeling all of these clues, it tells it, You're safe. You're safe. You're safe. There's no danger coming at you. You're safe. And so breathing is one of the most important things we can do to give ourselves that signal. One of the other things we can do is to just think calming, happy thoughts. Again, just to give ourselves a little bit of a pause so that we can actually work with our trigger, because in the middle of a trigger, we have no access to our right and left prefrontal cortex, and we are not creative, and we are not able to come up with many solutions. So when I was in the car, the other thing I can do is just rub my hand or my arm as my own gesture of support for, you're not alone, this won't last forever, and it's going to be okay. So I did those two things first. And then the second thing I did was just name my emotion. And this is a tool called broadcasting. So broadcasting is naming where I am. It's not where I want to be. It's not where I should be. It's not where a Gandhi-like parent would be. It is my honest expression of where I am. And where I was right then was frustrated and hot and irritated and feeling a little hopeless because we still had over an hour to go and we were in traffic. And so just name, because I found that when we name it, we're able to loosen its grip on the reactive whole cycle. So then the third step is to own that, yes, I'm being stimulated by the traffic. Yes, I'm being stimulated by my daughter's fighting. Yes, I'm being stimulated by my future thoughts of my mother-in-law and my fears about how this trip is going to go. Breathe. And the owning part, which we'll do more in depth in another lesson, is to recognize that something within me, in my own past, is being activated. And that is normal, so validate my experience and let myself be where I am. Because what happens with the ownership is that we start to often self-criticize. And we say, I shouldn't be feeling this, or this shouldn't be happening, or it should be easier. We want life to be different. And that is the recipe for insanity, because life is at that moment. So it's accepting what is, owning what is, and not needing anything to be different. So I'm going to take a pause right now, and I am used to having the interactivity of a class, and I'm not used to having myself be the only one to speak. And I usually have experiential exercises that we do throughout. So I'm just noticing that right now, and I'll try to figure out how to be able to add that either with more questions or more interactivity. So I think you get the point of what to do with when you're mourning. And the mourning part, again, is not in the car with your family, but it's also schedule a time with yourself, either on a walk or in the bathroom or with your own journaling or speaking into your phone, and give yourself permission to, again, just say, that was really hard. That was a hard experience, and cry and get angry and feel all the frustration and irritation and shout it at the sky and at the ground, not at the people in the car with you or your mother-in-law. Okay, so I want to go on to the celebrating. The celebrating is we took a family walk at Pogonip, and I want you all to just recognize that all of your family members are living with you, I would guess. And my daughter, oldest daughter, is the spirited one, is now off at the University of Portland, having an amazing experience. But she's not in our home. And so she was home for the summer, and we had so many amazing times of connection and walking and heart to heart. And I just want to all give you hope with your challenging children. So the celebration is what we were able to agree first on what we were going to do, and that's not always a given. And what we did was we went to Pogonip, and we had this amazing play and run and make silly jokes, and the needs, values that were met were abundant connection, nature and the outdoors, beauty. There was so much beauty. What else was there? We really saw and heard each other, which again is not a given with social media, and we're not always in good moods, but we were in good moods that day. And it's a rare and amazing thing, and it's so precious when it happens. And so I felt jubilant and excited and happy and joyful, and just really celebrated that we had this family time that worked. Because as you know, I know I could go on and on with all of the parts of the summer where one of us or all of us were not in good moods, and it just doesn't always work out as easily. So the way to celebrate is to get a journal and write down the experience that happened, and sort of as a video camera could see it, and then write down all the feelings that you felt, and then write down all the needs, values that you were able to connect with. And this is a wonderful counterbalance to the brain's tendency to work on what is not working and what is not easy. So let me see if there's anything else I wanted to cover. I think I went through most of it, which is good because we only have 3 minutes left. I guess I just really want to reiterate that we're going to start this every Sunday, and I'm hoping it's of benefit to you. I would love your comments and your feedback and your questions, and you can private message me and email me for what scenarios and hard situations you are in that you would love to be brought up and deconstructed with this group. And I won't use names, and it'll be all confidential, but you'll get the support that you need. Please do share with friends, because I want this to be a growing community. And I also just want to emphasize that I had a recent experience of a really, really hard experience that happened at work. And through my processing of it, I realized how much stuffing and numbing and being strong I did as a child, because my parents were not able to hold space and reflect and validate and deeply listen with presence to my pain and upset. And there is nothing more pressing to me than to pass this information on so that we can be as centered and present as often as possible, not reactive, so that we can do this for our own children, because I think that makes all the difference. And again, being able to listen to our kids' pain instead of numbing, fixing, rationalizing, blaming, shaming, and labeling, which is our go-to habit. The other thing that we can do is set limits from this centered place instead of from a reactive place. So please tune in next Sunday. We will, they're all being recorded, so if Sunday at 4 is not an easy time for you, you can listen to them whenever. Next week we're going to go, because I got a lot of feedback that how to respond when your child doesn't get their way, which is often very triggering for the parent and the child. So again, thanks for your attention, and